About 5 years ago, Johnstone, one of my personal favorite Pokemon content creators, made a video about how to beat Pokemon Red and Blue with the gyms in reverse order. It's an excellent video. I'm going to link it down below if you want to go check it out yourself, but the concept is pretty simple. You use Brock through walls in order to go get yourself a Mewtwo, then you simply glitch out the game so that you can change your player's coordinates to just put yourself next to each gym leader and fight them from Giovanni back to Blaine, back to Sabrina, on and on until you beat all of the gyms in the opposite order. Now this tells me, as a solo runner who loves minimum battles challenges, that there are ways in Pokemon Red and Blue to beat the game with even fewer battles than minimum battles, with even fewer battles than super minimum battles. Today we're going to try ultra minimum battles with what I think might be the best Gen 1 solo running Pokemon, Victreebel. Now I think this is possible for a few reasons. Number one, in Pokemon Red and Blue, the movesets of the gym leaders and their AI is absolute trash. There are a lot of spots where I think we're even going to get some free victories, in spite of the fact that we'll be going into the battles under-leveled. On top of that, in Gen 1, Sleep and the Badge Boost glitch are completely broken, such that even if we're quite a few levels lower than our opponents, it might still be enough. Finally, our Victreebel, with its amazing base stat total of 420 and its medium slow level up group, should have all the tools that it needs to completely crush this game. The question is this even possible, and what kind of settings would we need to use? So I'm going to do things just a little bit different than my standard runs. We're going to run on Max DVs with this Pokemon, 15 DVs in every single category, meaning this will be the strongest Victreebel that you could ever possibly have, because we're just trying to establish if this is even possible before we go crazy trying to do this on 0 DVs. Now I'm going to start the game normally, and we will get access to our Victreebel from Professor Oak. He's going to just lead us into his office here, where his grandson has been waiting for presumably his entire lifetime to get a Pokemon, but he's going to give us one first. And we're going to get the strongest possible Pokemon, the flycatcher that is Victreebel. And now we have our Ultra Bell at level 5. The Max DVs don't come in until after I level up the first time, but I do have them set in the background, so just bear with the fact that this Pokemon is a little bit weaker than it actually should be. And here, because I want to beat the game fighting only gym leaders and Elite 4 members and the champion, we're actually going to intentionally throw the Rival 1 fight. I just want to see how we do here. So it's pretty simple. I can just spam Stun Spore until I faint, and just like that, we get through that fight with no experience gained. And after correcting my overlay for a optional battle that we didn't actually take, I'm simply going to come back here, we'll complete Professor Oak's fetch quest, and it's time to start our challenge properly. Now, I have covered the Brock through walls glitch quite a bit here on the channel already, with things like my Tauros minimum battles run, the Chansey minimum battles run, so we're not going to go back over that all again here. However, we know that it is possible to set up the Brock through walls glitch, and theoretically we could just use a different Pokemon to beat the one required bug catcher here in Viridian Forest, thereby bypassing that trainer. Now, the next part of my setup here is that I'm actually going to get vitamins, something that I never do in my runs, but technically via the color case in Pokemon Stadium 2, you could simply transfer these in from another cartridge, or you could use the whole glitching around the map to simply pick up a bunch of vitamins, use the Cinnabar Island glitch to get infinite amounts of them, whatever you want. But we simply want to see if the strongest possible Victreebel is capable of beating the game with only 13 battles. So with Max DVs, we're also going to just slam on these vitamins now to get all of our stats as high as they possibly can be. Now, fortunately, vitamins aren't that overpowered early on, because stat experience uses your level to calculate how much it boosts your stats. At low levels, we're talking about 2 to 3 points in each stat tops. Still, it will build up as we get later and later into this challenge. Now, outside of that, we are going to set ourselves up with the 12 rare candies that are available in a solo challenge. Yet again, if you're glitching around the map, you could simply get all of these by knowing their exact coordinates. We will give ourselves a few elixirs and the 2 max elixirs that are possible to get in the game as well. But with that setup, I think we're ready to try this challenge. But now for this challenge specifically, we are going to fight the gym leaders in any order that we want. We're simply going to take them on in whatever order I think is the easiest, as long as we stay within only 13 battles. And obviously the easiest gym leader by far is going to be Brock. We have a super effective move in Razor Leaf, and really he doesn't have enough power to knock out even a level 5 Pokemon, but let's just see how this goes. So of course Brock's Geodude comes out. We are faster than this Pokemon. We're just going to go Razor Leaf and get the easy one-hit KO right there. Out next comes the Onix. It is faster, but unlike Yellow, where this Pokemon has Bind, which technically could defeat us, here he doesn't have anything that could knock us out in a single turn, so a simple Razor Leaf ends it as we get to level 10. And just like that, 8 minutes and 18 seconds, including time for me to set up things on the back end, we have managed to beat Brock without taking a single battle before this. Victreebel just has a super easy victory here. And now with Brock out of the way, the next easiest gym leader for a Victreebel has to be Misty. I mean, she's a water type trainer, she's only going to use Tackle against us, so this should be a guaranteed victory, but let's see if level 10 is enough to actually get through here. So first up, we've got her Staryu. I didn't even heal coming into this. She misses the first tackle though, and this is going to be a 2-hit KO on the first Pokemon, but we easily get through. We level up to level 12. Now out comes Starmie. It goes tackle, but it didn't do that much damage. And since Razor Leaf is effectively a guaranteed critical hit, this is going to be a 3-hit KO, but we managed to beat Misty on the first attempt, get to level 14, 10 minutes 33 seconds to get through that with no reset so far. This is an absolute cakewalk up to this point in the game, which kind of makes sense. I mean, Victreebel is kind of overpowered here amongst Pokemon running on these sorts of settings. And we can see with the Max DVs plus the vitamins that we've gotten, we have pretty good stats overall. Already 49 attack, 42 special, we've got 54 HP. We're really kind of overpowered. So now with Misty out of the way, I think it's time to actually take on Erika. And there's a pretty good reason for this. It's time to get into why Pokemon Red and Blue is significantly easier than Pokemon Yellow, starting with this fight right here. So here against Erika, she leads off with her own Victreebel at level 29, more than double our level. But when you look at her moveset, she knows the move Poison Powder here, and because of the way that Gen 1 Smart AI works, she thinks Poison is super effective against us, in spite of the fact that it's a non-damaging move. So she's simply going to spam Poison Powder over and over again, meaning that even at an incredibly low level, we can simply sit here and spam Acid on this Pokemon, and we are guaranteed to knock this Pokemon out. So we get all the way to level 17 off of that. Now the Tangela comes out, and unlike Pokemon Red and Blue, where it was running Bind, Constrict, Mega Drain, and Vine Whip, here it only knows Constrict and Bind, two incredibly weak normal type moves, and you'll notice that we're already faster than this Pokemon. So we simply put it to sleep to avoid getting stuck in some sort of bind spam or getting constricted and having our speed lowered. And this is just a 4-hit KO on this Pokemon with Acid. So it's an incredibly easy victory. We get to level 18 as the Vileplume comes out, and it has the same problem as the first Victreebel. It's only going to use Poison Powder against us. So while this fight is a little bit tedious, it's completely free. You can win this fight every single time with any grass poison Pokemon with no difficulty whatsoever. So 10 minutes 58 seconds with me rambling here, we completely destroy Erika when we came in at half the level of her first Pokemon. And of course that also gives us access to Mega Drain, which could be a useful TM as we continue in this run. There might be a spot where we want to use the Badge Boost glitch or regain health in the middle of a battle, and we can simply add on Mega Drain instead of having Razor Leaf at that point. It could be a strategy to get through the game. So now I think it's time to just fight Lieutenant Surge, another gym leader who, in spite of the fact that he has 3 Pokemon in Pokemon Red and Blue, I think is significantly easier in this version, at least less random. Let's see if we can easily beat him on the first attempt though. So of course Lieutenant Surge leads off with his Voltorb. We are slower than this Pokemon, but I don't think it really matters. The worst thing it can do is Sonic Boom, and this is an easy 2-hit KO with Razor Leaf. Out next, we get to level 22 as the Pikachu comes out. We outspeed already, and we can simply go Razor Leaf to one-shot that Pokemon. Now the Raichu, its only damaging moves are electric type moves, so we're simply going to sit here and spam the Razor Leaf, knowing that he can't do meaningful damage to us even if he tries. So it's an easy 3-hit KO as we get through Lieutenant Surge and get to level 21. 13 minutes, 24 seconds to get through that, really no difficulty. And just like that, we have managed to beat another gym leader. 4 gyms down, no resets, no battles other than these 4 gym leaders at this point. We're completely crushing Kanto. Now the reason we wanted to fight Lieutenant Surge there before we go to Koga is because he gives a badge boost in defense, and that should help us a little bit against Koga. Koga's just going to want to use poison moves against us, but he could be a little bit random. We're just gonna have to see if we can survive or not. But one thing I am gonna do before I go to Koga is get access to the Swords Dance TM. This is our badge boosting move in this one, and it's a super important move as we go through the game. With Swords Dance, we should be able to boost up our attack stats so that we do at least reasonable damage against those poison types, even with a move like Acid. So I'm simply going to forget Stun Spore in order to learn Swords Dance, and it's just basically going to be a sleep plus Swords Dance strategy. Yet again, we would simply need to know the coordinates of the Swords Dance TM, or you could transfer this via the color case in order to get this legitimately, or kind of legitimately. I guess when you're glitching the game to teleport around, it's not technically legitimate, but there are actually legitimate ways to get this TM by just trading to another cartridge or using the color case in order to get access to it. Now, of course, the other thing that you can do at this point, I do it all the time in my solo runs, is get access to Hyper Beam. It might be useful late in the game, especially if we're going for Swords Dance strats. You actually have enough money from items in a typical solo run at this point to simply get access to the move here. Once you've gotten through the first 4 gyms, we're simply going to get access to the Hyper Beam TM here. Maybe it's useful. But like that, we have made it now to Koga. This could be the first legitimately kind of difficult fight in this entire challenge, but if we can beat him, we can get a badge boost in speed, and that might be enough to get us through the Blaine fight. We'll just have to see. But first things first, let's just try him. We are already faster than the Coughings, so we can simply put these Pokemon to sleep. We're going to set up our Swords Dance right here so that we have as much attack as possible, and then let's just see what kind of damage we do with Acid here. It's not going to be great, obviously, but as long as we can keep them asleep, we should have a decent chance of getting through here, and if this doesn't work, we'll simply add on a normal type move instead. Now, Muck is just faster than us, and it does really good damage, so unfortunately, we're probably not going to win this first attempt without just crazy luck from here. He could go for something like Poison Gas here, though, that would allow us to get through. Unfortunately, he simply knocks us out on this attempt. But I think the strategy is actually pretty simple. We just need a damage-dealing move that is normal type, and that's where I think our Hyper Beam comes in. So for the next several gyms at least, we don't actually need Acid or Razor Leaf, so it's just a question of which move do we want to forget, and I'm going to forget Razor Leaf. It's not actually super important for the next several gyms, and besides, we could learn something like Mega Drain or Solar Beam later in the game that will either let us heal or give us Badge Boost Glitch. So now with Hyper Beam on the set, let's see how this fight goes. So the strategy on the first Coughing is the same. We simply set up our 3 Swords Dances right here, and now we're going to try to sweep with the Hyper Beam. We get a nice one-hitter there. Sludge does not knock us out, and we get a not quite one-hitter on the Muck. So we're going to need slightly better luck here to get through this Pokemon. Sleep is going to be required. So next attempt, we put Muck to sleep. I'm going to use Acid once on it, and then we will go for the Hyper Beam to finish it off. We get to level 22. We're already faster than the Coughing, of course, so we'll simply one-shot it. And now the question is, how do we do against the Wheezing? Wheezing knows Toxic, Sludge, and Smog. Smog and Toxic will not knock us out, whereas Sludge probably will. So it's basically a 2 in 3 chance that we don't get knocked out here. Unfortunately, he goes for Sludge, so we lose this attempt. This time we get poison gas from Muck, so we should get a better range as long as we don't crit here. Unfortunately, we do get the critical hit, but he stays asleep, so we can hit him with another hyper beam to knock him down. Because we're down to only 2 hyper beams though, and there is a chance to miss or get a critical hit, I'm going to go for the acid on this second coughing, just because I think we can get the range. We sure enough do. We get to the final wheezing on full health. It goes toxic. We put it to sleep. We're going to go hyper beam, not quite get the one hitter, but we'll go for the final hyper beam here as he's X attacking. We missed the second hyper beam though. He gets to use sludge after the X attacks and knocks us out. If we just don't get the 10% chance to miss there, we would have won. Back to wheezing again on full health. It goes smog, then toxic. And this time I'm going to go for acid first to lower its HP a little bit so that we hopefully get it in the range where we can one-shot it with a hyper beam. We missed the first hyper beam, hit the second one. So finally, after 7 attempts, we do beat Koga. We get to level 24. It's taken 31 minutes, 24 seconds to get here, but we have 5 gym badges done, only 6 resets. We've added 2 TMs. Really not that bad, but we can see that it was a pretty big split there between Lieutenant Surge and Koga due to setup plus a little bit of luck there on that fight. So now it's technically just a question of which gym do we want to take on next, and I think the best option is to come here and take on Giovanni. Now for this fight I do actually want to have Mega Drain on the move set. Hyper Beam we can forget for now. We can always add this move on again later because technically you could buy it as many times as you want from the game corner, and it's not like we're buying anything else in this run. So I'm simply going to forget Hyper Beam for now and have this move instead. And with that, let's try the 8th gym leader. Remember, I said I can fight the gym leaders in any order as long as I fight only gym leaders, Elite Four members, and the champion. And I think this is the easier fight in Pokemon Red and Blue. Let's get into it. Now, Giovanni is a cakewalk in this version for a couple of reasons. Number one, he leads off with a Rhyhorn that's super slow and weak, so we can just go Mega Drain here. It's going to be 2 hits to knock that Pokemon out, but really no issue. Out next comes this Dugtrio. This is the scariest Pokemon. It knows Slash. That's the move we didn't want to see, but we still survive and tank the move, and now we can simply go Mega Drain in order to heal up. It's going to be a 3-hit KO. Unfortunately, we just didn't keep it asleep long enough, but as long as sleep lasts, this should be an easy victory. This time instead we get Growl from the Dugtrio, which is what we really want to see here. We get a critical hit with the Mega Drain and then he guard specs, so we get through that Pokemon just fine. Now the Nidoqueen and Nidoking in Pokemon Red and Blue have just terrible movesets. And because we are a grass type, they only want to use Poison Sting against us. So funny enough, this is a spot where we can simply just boost up with Swords Dance to increase our defense. And while we're definitely going to want to go Mega Drain here rather than going for the Acid, honestly, we can do either because after we use the badge boosts, we're going to outspeed here. And sure, this is going to be incredibly weak, but we can get defense drops. And here it's just about keeping them asleep, really. So we get through Nidoqueen just fine. We get to level 27 as Nidoking comes out. He guard specs. We're just going to put this Pokemon to sleep. Mega Drain is technically neutrally effective, but it's much weaker because we don't have a way to boost our special stat at this point. So I'm just going to spam Acid here. Yes, it's 4 times resisted, but with defense drops also coming in, we start to make some pretty good progress on this Pokemon as long as we don't get critical hits. We even get a Gen 1 miss there, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Finally, the Rhydon comes out. It's slow. We simply put it to sleep. Mega Drain looks to be a 2-hit KO on this Pokemon. So in spite of the fact that we came in at level 24, we leveled up on every Pokemon. We got to the level 29. It didn't matter. 41 minutes to beat that gym leader. And that, I think, is the ultimate proof that Giovanni, while he calls himself the greatest trainer in the world, especially in Pokemon Red and Blue, is just a joke. He's just terrible. And with that done, now we have to get to the 2 gym leaders that I think are actually going to be a challenge for our Victreebel. Those, of course, are Blaine and Sabrina. Unlike Pokemon Yellow, they both have smart AI in this version of the game, so in theory at least, they should be pretty hard to get through, but I'm not sure they're actually going to be that hard in practice. I think this is the spot where we think about dropping some rare candies though, because that might be the way to get it to go. Now quickly on our way to Blaine, we'll get access to Solar Beam here. I'm not sure if I'll use it, but it is technically our strongest same type move, synergizes well with the sleep powder strats that we're using, so it might work. And just like that, we make it to Blaine. We're currently at level 29. We're massively under leveled for this, but it's possible that with badge boosts and speed plus sleep strategies, we might actually be able to get through here. And I mean, acid is neutrally effective, so with Swords Dance and acid, we should do decent damage here. Let's see if it actually works though. So first up, we have the Growlithe that we're already faster than. So we're simply going to put this Pokemon to sleep. We keep missing the sleep here. He goes for agility, but I think we set up at least one Swords Dance here and then go into acid. And this looks like it might be a 2-hit KO. Very nice. We get to the Ponyta. We are currently in a speed tie with this Pokemon. And what I'm most concerned about is just where I level up in this fight. If we level up at a bad time, we're probably not going to be able to outspeed later on in the fight, which is why I'm trying to avoid setting up all of the Swords Dances right away. Here we in fact level up right there as we get to level 30. Rapidash comes out. It's just going to want to use Fire Spin. As long as it hits, we're simply getting knocked out on this attempt. But let's see. The Rapidash has 99 speed. We might be able to outspeed with all of the badge boosts here. I'm simply going to try to add on one rare candy and see if we can badge boost earlier in the fight and where we actually level up. Remember, we've got 12 rare candies in the bag because that's how many you get in a solo challenge. And here, one rare candy to manage badge boosts I think is reasonable. So in this case, instead of setting up our Swords Dances later, I'm just going to set up all three here on the first Growlithe, and let's see how far into the team we get before we level up this time. So here we can simply use acid. Now, if it's not a critical hit, I think we one-shot. We keep getting crits after we set up the Swords Dances, but we do knock that Pokemon out. Here on the Ponyta, we get the one-hit KO. We are, in fact, faster than Rapidash here, so we'll simply put it to sleep, but we're gonna level up after this Pokemon, so we're gonna have to hope for some serious luck on the Arcanine. Still, Rapidash is a 2-hit KO as we get to level 31, and now we get Ember from Arcanine. We put it to sleep. We can just drop more acid here, and just like that, a 2-hit KO. So 2 attempts to beat Blaine thanks to the badge boost glitch. 47 minutes, 16 seconds, and we are through 7 gyms now. We have only Sabrina remaining. I put her off till the last because she is the only gym leader that I honestly think is harder in Pokemon Red and Blue than Pokemon Yellow, especially against a poison type like our Victreebel. She actually has smart AI here and knows to use her psychic type moves, but who knows, we may still be able to find a way to cheese that fight. So as we come into Sabrina, we're currently sitting here with all of the available badge boosts. We can see that both our attack and special are over 100. Our speed is still 81. Our defense isn't great, but we should at least have reasonable chances of getting through this, provided we can just survive a turn and maybe set up our badge boosts on one of the early Pokemon. I think even Stab Acid, which is effectively 90 power in the hands of a poison type Pokemon, with the Swords Dance will be enough to sweep. So first up, we've got the Kadabra, which has 90 speed, so we are outsped here. We get hit by a Psybeam, critical hit, one-shot. But if we don't get the crit, I think we might actually survive here. Sure enough, we do, but we get confused the next attempt, so we're once again knocked out by the first Pokemon. Third attempt, we do manage to get the Kadabra to sleep though, and just one Swords Dance is enough to outspeed here, but I'm going to set up all of the Swords Dances, hoping that we can just get the ranges to one-shot everything. Of course, if we get critical hits, that will mess with that, but after that, we can simply knock out the Mr. Mime. We're already faster than the Venomoth and get the one-hitter there, so now it comes down to Alakazam. We leveled up here, so we're not outspeeding, but it goes Reflect or Psywave. We might survive. Only Psybeam is really scary here. Here she goes Reflect, and we get a critical hit, but it's just a 2-hitter there, and we get through Sabrina on the third attempt. 51 minutes, 53 seconds of real time with me doing live commentary to get to this point. 12 resets, 3 TMs, and we have taken 8 battles. Up to this point in the game, we have cut out everything. All of the random trainers that you fight on Route 3, Mount Moon, go into Bill's house, the SSN, Rock Tunnel, the Rocket Hideout, the Lavender Pokemon Tower, Silphco. We've eliminated all of them, and yet this Pokemon is still basically cruising through the game, where most of the time that has been lost has been from me having to set up glitches and not accidentally run out of bounds and reset my timer and then have to sit and wait for my timer to get back to where it was supposed to be. This is ridiculous, guys. Honestly, ridiculous. So now as we come into the Elite Four at the end of the game, we've got our bag set up where we've got 11 rare candies. We only used one so far in this entire run to manipulate badge boost glitch. We have 4 elixirs, 2 max elixirs, so we have enough PP restoration to get through this section. We've got a bunch of full restores just in case we need them. I've got a random PP up here. We could have picked up more, but I only got one. We have TM33 for Reflect in case we need extra defense in a certain situation. We have Takedown as another normal type move that we could potentially use. I highly doubt we're going to use it though. We have Mimic just in case. There could be a situation against Agatha or Lance where Mimic Strats is the best play, but I'm going to avoid it if at all possible. We've got another Hyper Beam TM just in case as well, and then we've got TM22 for Solar Beam. And honestly, I think all of these TMs are enough to get through this. Let's get into the league and find out if we need to use rare candies, when we need to use rare candies. Are we fast enough? Are we too slow? Honestly, I don't know, but we're going to get into this and find out. So first up, of course, we have Lorelei, and her Dugong is faster than us. It knows Aurora Beam, which it's going to want to use as it's a super effective move. Instead, it goes Rest here, though, so that's going to allow us to simply put this Pokemon to sleep, and a single Swords Dance will guarantee that we are now faster. Unfortunately, we did get hit by the Aurora Beam after that. I'm hoping that Mega Drain will allow me to heal up enough HP that we can get through this one. With most of our HP back, though, I'm going to use Acid and try to knock this Pokemon out. We do knock her out without her using a super potion. Unfortunately, the next Pokemon, Cloyster, is going to outspeed us after we leveled up there. We get hit by another Aurora Beam. We do manage to put this Pokemon to sleep though, and since Cloyster has a little bit lower special, I went for the Mega Drain. Unfortunately, it's not enough. She's gonna Aurora Beam us here, but because she got an attack drop on us with the Aurora Beam, we actually got a badge boost in speed to outspeed, so we put this Pokemon back to sleep. Let's go for the Mega Drain. We get a 3-hit KO there, and we knock it out as we level up again, going to Slowbro. Now I'm going to put Slowbro to sleep here. We're going to set up our remaining Swords Dances right here and try to keep this Pokemon asleep, because I think what we need to do is heal up HP before the Jinx. Fortunately, we still had Mega Drain PP, so we managed to get all of our HP back. We can knock out Slowbro here with a couple of acids. Now on Jinx, I don't think we even mess around. Ice Punch with a critical hit one-shots us. But man, if we had not leveled up during this fight, if we could have kept all our badge boosts, I think we would have outsped Jinx here. So I think the best strategy here is just to spam some rare candies until we're able to outspeed that Dugong. Here at level 36, we now have 90 speed, which means we should be faster than those first 3 Pokemon, meaning we only need to set up badge boosts to try to outspeed Jinx. Let's see if this is enough. So in this case, I'm simply going to put Dugong to sleep, and I don't even think we mess around with any Swords Dances yet, because I don't know where exactly we're going to level up. So I'm going to just try to sit here and spam some acid on this Pokemon. We did end up setting up one Swords Dance after it got an attack drop on us, and we get through to Cloyster. Now we put Cloyster to sleep, and we just need to keep it asleep. So we used a lot of PP in our sleep powder there, but we do manage to now use some Mega Drains in order to recover HP. We can knock that Pokemon out now close to full HP as we level up on the Slowbro. Now I'm going to put Slowbro to sleep and start setting up the Swords Dances. Now honestly, we probably didn't need to put this Pokemon to sleep. It's only going to want to use Amnesia here because of the fact that we are a poison type, but fortunately with Acid, it's not affected by Amnesia. We can just set up the Swords Dances and now I think get a pretty easy win here. We knock that Pokemon out. Out comes the Jinx things. I'm just going to drop acid here, get the 1-hit KO. We level up going to Lapras, but we are faster. We just need to land a sleep powder. It missed the first blizzard, which was absolutely amazing. Now we get a defense drop with the first acid, and we knock it out with the second hit. So yeah, after using some rare candies here, we managed to beat Lorelei without much difficulty. And now it's just time to get on to Bruno. I don't think we have to worry about Bruno, but let's find out. So of course, Bruno leads off with his Onix. I don't think we need to worry about this Pokemon too much. I am going to put it to sleep just so that I can set up Swords Dance here. Like, yeah, I could go Rage, Rock Throw, Slam, none of which are really scary here, but still, I just want to make sure that we get all of our setup off. Then we can knock that Pokemon out. Out comes the Hitmonchan. We're just going to drop acid here. It's going to be an easy 2-hit KO. The Ice Punch did decent damage, but still we managed to get through. Hitmonlee goes Jump Kick, which again isn't really that scary. We can just Mega Drain down the Onix to get a bunch of health back. And now on the Machamp, sure, it goes Focus Energy. We get an easy 2-hit KO there as we get to level 40. Bruno, even when you haven't fought any battles in the game, is still a complete joke. Man, we are so under-leveled here, and we are still doing amazingly. That might all come to an end right here on Agatha, though. Agatha is the reason I have kept Acid this long. You see, Acid, while it isn't a super strong move, and is 4 times resisted by her ghosts, is boosted by Swords Dance, and has the advantage that it can get defense drops. That is what we've actually been banking on this entire time, and I think Acid will be enough, at least in terms of damage output, to get through this. I've done it previously in minimum battles runs with the Bellsprout line, so I think this works, but let's see if it actually works when we're this under-leveled. So here against the Gengar, unfortunately, we're going to be outsped no matter what we do, but we will put this Pokemon to sleep. I'm going to set up some Swords Dances here because I want to make sure that I outspeed things like the Golbat that are coming up. Fortunately, she Dream Eaters while we're awake, which is always nice. Now we can put Golbat to sleep. I'm going to drop Acid here since it's only 2 times resisted. We did decent damage there. Now she swaps back to Gengar though, so we're going to use Acid here. This looks like a 5-hit KO without crits. Unfortunately, we're getting lots of critical hits here, and she Super Potions, but we get a nice defense drop, so we managed to knock out the Gengar without it waking up. Now we can go in on the Acid here on the Golbat, but she swaps to Haunter, so we'll put Haunter to sleep. So at least we know the next Pokemon's already asleep as we level up to level 41. She swaps to Arbok. So Arbok also drops Acid. We're just kind of both spamming Acid here, but it's a 3-hit KO, except we got a critical hit there. Still, a defense drop meant that after the Super Potion, we still knocked that Pokemon out. We're slower than the Haunter here, but we get a defense drop on the first Acid, so this should be a 3-hitter. She swaps to her final Gengar, then back to the Haunter, and we just need a couple more hits to knock this Pokemon out. Fortunately, we do take it down. Out comes the final Gengar. It goes Toxic, which of course can't affect us, and we get it to sleep. Now we're just dropping Acid like crazy. We get the defense drop, we get a critical hit, but another defense drop, and just like that, we beat Agatha on the first attempt and get to level 42. We didn't even have to use rare candies there. Are you kidding me? We still have 8 rare candies in the bag. We've only rare candied 4 times in this entire run. Once to get a range on Blaine, and then the rest for the Lorelei section. Like, are you kidding me? Oh my god. Max DVs Pokemon are just completely overpowered for 1, and for 2, Victreebel is the one, guys. It's just way too strong for Kanto. Especially Pokemon Red and Blue, where you can just cheese half of these fights. And now we have another fight that I think is gonna actually be pretty easy. Let's get into this Lance fight and see how it goes. Now, Lance epitomizes why Pokemon Red and Blue is just so much easier than Pokemon Yellow. Here, of course, his first Pokemon, Gyarados, is exactly the same. It has the same moveset, but here he's never going to use Hydro Pump, so we're just really hoping not to get hit by Hyper Beam, and we should be good. After some Swords Dances, we outspeed here. We're just going to drop Acid and get an easy 2-hit KO on that Pokemon. Out next comes the Dragonair, though, and it knows Agility, which means any Poison or Fighting type, it's only going to use Agility over and over again. So we can simply use a couple of Acids to knock this Pokemon out with no risk of ever losing to that Pokemon. Out next, the second Dragonair is more of the same, so now we have his Aerodactyl. Now, we don't want a critical hit Hyper Beam for sure, or even a critical hit Takedown's probably bad, but that's a 50% chance that he uses either of those moves, and then a 25% chance that he gets the crit. Here instead he goes Supersonic, so we simply put him to sleep, and we could do anything. We could go for the Mega Drain, but I'm going to try Acid here. It looks like a 3-hit KO, but we also got a defense drop. He Hyper Potions, but honestly, one more hit as he misses another Supersonic. We knocked that Pokemon out, and now the final Dragonite. It knows Barrier and Agility. So it's just going to spam those two moves. Obviously, we don't like Barrier that much. That's the only reason I'm trying to go for Sleep here, is just so that he doesn't get to boost his defense. And once he's asleep, we just drop Acid like crazy. And there we go. We have completely destroyed Lance. We're just completely destroying this game. That is not possible in Pokemon Yellow, because one of the Dragonairs knows Ice Beam, then you've got the Aerodactyl that knows Fly and Wing Attack, and then you have the final Dragonite that knows Blizzard and Fire Blast. So Lance in Pokemon Red and Blue is a joke. In Pokemon Yellow, he's actually tough. And that's kind of the story of why I decided to do this rather than the super minimum battles run with this Pokemon, because if it's possible to beat the game fighting only gym leaders and the Elite Four and the champion, that kind of just stunts on Gen 1 hard. We're sitting at 95.7 as the score at this point. We have 20 fewer resets than we finished the Pokemon Yellow super minimum battles with Victreebel, and we're just kind of crushing the game. So I have a bunch of TMs in the bag. I'm not sure if I need them. I've got a bunch of rare candies in the bag. I'm not sure if I need them. I'm going to go in and try to do this without them. The real issue is going to be the Charizard. It has, I believe, 145 speed, if I remember correctly. So we're going to need to get the badge boosts before that Charizard. But if we can manage it, we might just be good here. So here we are against the champion. Of course, Pidgeot, it knows Sky Attack, Wing Attack, and Mirror Move. Mirror Move is kind of good because that move can't do anything the first turn. Unfortunately, a critical hit Wing Attack is super effective and will knock us out, but still, I think we've got a chance here. So let's just make sure we properly heal this time and recover our PP and go into this one again. So this time we do put Pidgeot to sleep, and I'm not going to mess around with anything. I'm just going to go for Acid because I think we want to save the badge boost for later in the fight. Here he goes for Sky Attack though, and he will knock us out, unfortunately. We had him really low on health though. One more hit and we would have won. The very next attempt, we do manage to knock out Pidgeot. We get to Alakazam. Now this Pokemon can go Psybeam, Psychic, or Reflect. We're really hoping for Reflect here. Instead, we get Psychic, and that will be a one-shot no matter what we do. Still, it's only a 1 in 3 chance that he uses that move. Still, this is a bit inconsistent, so I'm going to set up one rare candy here, and then let's just see where we actually level up. This time, we actually managed to survive a Psychic. We get a special drop as well, which gave us a slight boost in attack and speed. Unfortunately, the Alakazam wakes up, but we knock it out the next turn with Acid. Now I'm just going to Mega Drain on the Rhydon to recover all of my HP, and it's time again for this Exeggutor. We're going to put it to sleep and set up 2 Swords Dances here, and we're at 144 speed after that, so we still do kind of want to Leer. We managed to 2-shot there against the Exeggutor, and I'm just going to go for the Mega Drain, yet again hoping for Leer here. Instead, we get Hyper Beam and we get knocked out. It's effectively a 1 in 3 chance to get Hyper Beam and a 1 in 3 chance to get Leer. They're equally possible here. Dragon Rage is kind of a wash. So yeah, we just need a reset for the luck here, or we can try to go for a rare candy to manipulate where we level up. So I'm just going to get to level 48. That is the next damage rounding threshold, and it does increase the amount of XP we need to level up here pretty significantly. So let's just see how that affects our level up ranges. So we still level up on Executor here, and it puts us to sleep with the Hypnosis, which was kind of bad. And we're missing all of our sleep powders here, so it's stomping us and barraging us down. Still, we finally managed to put this Pokemon to sleep. We can finish our setup, and now we are actually going to be faster than everything from this point. So now we just need to land the sleeps in order to get the luck that we need. Acid is a 2-hit KO here on the Gyarados, and now can we land the sleep on the Charizard? We miss and we lose. But we have the setup at this point where we simply have to land that sleep and we will get the victory. This time we finish our setup on Executor with full health. We knock it out in a single hit. Gyarados comes out. We'll just sleep it just to be safe. And now we just need to not get critical hits and we can knock this Pokemon out. Takes 3 turns because of the first turn crit. Now we do put Charizard to sleep. We can use the Acid twice. And just like that, with only 13 battles, we beat the entire game of Pokemon Red and Blue with a single Victreebel. It took an hour 1950 to do it in real time. That includes me giving real-time commentary here. That includes me accidentally running out of bounds and having to reset up my whole setup. So yeah, this was not bad at all. 27 resets at the end is 6 fewer resets than it took us to do super minimum battles in Pokemon Yellow. And we could have cut down those quite a bit because we still had rare candies in the bag at the end that I didn't use because I didn't know if I would need them or not. Especially on the champion, I didn't want to slam the rare candies at the end because I didn't know how it would affect where I leveled up. And of course, badge boosts are a factor there. We can get very easy setups on that Executor once we get there. Still, 3 TMs, 27 resets, and we have defeated all of Kanto with this Pokemon. So as our rival says, why did I lose? I mean, he beat us the only other time that we fought him in the Pokemon laboratory. We have to tell him it's because you did make a mistake raising your Pokemon. You fought too many battles. Fight fewer battles and you can get through the game much easier. Yes, I know it was a little inconsistent at the end, but honestly, again, slam the rare candies earlier. I think you're getting through this one without that much difficulty. So just like that, Professor Oak is going to come. He's going to tell his grandson that he's lame and instead give the credit to us. You know, he expresses his disappointment. You lost to a guy who didn't even fight anything? Come on. But just like that, ultra minimum battles, at least the first run, is in the books. I'm not sure a Mewtwo can do this, honestly, because Mewtwo, while yes, it's the strongest Pokemon in the game, is in the slow level up group and doesn't get badge boost glitch moves until level 63, where it learns Barrier. So I highly doubt that it's capable of doing this sort of challenge. Here, on the other hand, we were able to beat the game very nicely with our Victreebel, and just like that, we are the champions of Kanto. So that was a lot of fun. It's always great to see how you can take a Pokemon that struggles a little bit but is really good in Pokemon Yellow and then just come and completely crush Pokemon Red and Blue with it. It is a theme. We have gotten a lot of Pokemon through this version of the game with far fewer resets than we needed in Pokemon Yellow, just given the fact that the middle game is a lot easier here, and the Elite Four gives some pretty interesting free battles in this section of the game as well. And it turns out that you can get a medium slow level up Pokemon to level 50 by only fighting gym leaders and Elite Four members. So if you were doing some sort of Nuzlocke challenge, like, you could use all of your other Pokemon to just beat all the randos and just keep your medium slow level up, you know, main Pokemon to fight gym leaders and beat the game that way. So yeah, team challenges completely nerfed by anything in the medium slow level up group with a good moveset. And yeah, that's why we solo run. That's why we solo run. And it's kind of just hilarious to see, honestly. Anyway, I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.